What's up, Broncos Country? Before you close this video, answer something for me. Do you really believe this team is ready for the playoffs? Because after what happened at home against Jacksonville, I have my doubts. And look, I'm not the one saying this. The performance on the field itself showed truths that many people don't want to admit. Stay until the end of this video, and you'll understand why this loss might have been the best thing that happened to Denver before the postseason really begins. Let's go. Look, family, I need to tell you something here. When the Broncos took the field that Sunday, everyone expected another easy home win. After all, it was an 11-game winning streak. 11. A team that was flying high, showing grit, showing heart, showing everything that Broncos Country loves to see on the field. But you know what happened? Reality knocked on the door, and it knocked hard. The game against the Jaguars reminded the Broncos that they can still be defeated. They need to pay attention to details to ensure that Sunday's result doesn't become routine. They need to catch passes, eliminate costly penalties, pressure quarterbacks, and overall, elevate their level of play. As the Broncos prepare for the Christmas game against a severely depleted Chiefs team, they still lead the NFL with a 12-3 record. However, the advantage they had built in their campaign has disappeared, as they're now tied with the Patriots and Seahawks. There's no more room for error. Jacksonville came to Denver and gave a clinic in execution. 34 points, at home, on our turf. And it wasn't luck, folks. It was planning, it was strategy, it was the better team within those four lines on that specific day. And look, it hurts to say this. It hurts a lot. But it's the truth. The defense that had been an impenetrable wall in recent games simply didn't show up. You know, that constant pressure on the opposing quarterback? Gone. That suffocating coverage that made the other team miss pass after pass didn't exist. Jacksonville moved the ball like they were in practice, and that can't happen, especially now with the playoffs knocking on the door. Vance Joseph, the defensive coordinator, needs to look at this game and make quick adjustments, because what we saw on the field was a disorganized team, a team that couldn't stop the opposing offense at any point. There were 40 Jacksonville rushes. 40! 153 yards on the ground. The defensive line got pushed around, the linebackers didn't close the gaps, and the secondary? Well, better not even talk about it. And it doesn't stop there, family. The offense also had its problems. Bo Nix, our rookie quarterback, who had been growing every week, had a day to forget. 2 turnovers were costly. 1 fumble on a handoff with the running back. A fumble! That's high school stuff, not a team that wants to go far in the playoffs. And then, on 4th down, an interception throwing the ball right into coverage. Tyler Beatty was open on the check down, completely free, and Bo didn't see it. Or he saw it and decided to take a risk. Either way, it cost us the possession. But hold on. Before you guys start crucifying Bo Nix, remember he's a rookie. This means that in 2025, he's in his 2nd season in the league, meaning he's been in the NFL for 2 years, counting 2024 and 2025. And even with these mistakes, the kid showed courage, showed arm strength, showed he can be the future of this franchise. The problem is that against Jacksonville, courage wasn't enough. It needed perfect execution, and perfect execution didn't happen. The receivers also failed. Cortland Sutton, one of our offensive leaders, dropped a deep pass that would have put the Broncos inside the 5-yard line. 5 yards! It was a guaranteed touchdown. It was a chance to turn the game around, to put pressure on the opponent, to show everyone that Denver wasn't there to play around. But the ball dropped, and with it, the opportunity dropped. Pat Bryant, the rookie who had been showing promise, also let an important ball slip on 3rd down. Yes, the pass came from behind him. Yes, it wasn't the easiest play in the world, but in the NFL, if you want to be a star, you need to catch those balls. No excuses. It's the details that separate average teams from championship teams. And that Sunday, Denver was an average team. Now, let's talk about the elephant in the room, the penalties. My God, the penalties! It seemed like the Broncos were determined to sabotage themselves. Foul here, foul there, holding at the wrong time, pass interference when the defense finally managed to make a stop. It's unacceptable. These are concentration errors, discipline errors, errors that playoff teams simply cannot commit. And look, Broncos Country, I know it hurts to hear this. I know that after 11 straight wins, everyone was dreaming big. Division title, home field advantage, maybe even that first-round bye in the playoffs. But this loss brought everyone back to reality. And you know what? It was necessary. That's right. You heard it. It was necessary. Because it's better to lose now in the regular season with time to correct the mistakes than to discover these flaws in the playoffs when there's no second chance. When you lose, you go home. Game over. Season ended. And nobody wants that. This loss against Jacksonville worked as an alarm. A red alert flashing in everyone's face. Coaches, players, coaching staff, everyone needs to look at this game and understand what went wrong, because the problems are clear as day. Inconsistent defense in December, offense committing silly turnovers, lack of discipline with penalties, receivers dropping balls. And there's another detail that can't be overlooked. In recent years, this Broncos defense has a worrying pattern. In December, when games get tougher, when the cold hits, when the pressure increases, performance drops. Last year, the team got massacred in Buffalo by the Bills. Josh Allen did whatever he wanted. And now Jacksonville comes to our house and puts 34 points on the scoreboard. If this trend continues, the playoffs are going to be a nightmare, because there you face the best teams in the conference. You face elite quarterbacks. You face complex offensive schemes. And if the defense isn't at its best level, there's no chance. Zero, none. But let's look at the positive side too, family, because not everything is lost. Far from it. The Broncos still have an excellent record, 12 wins and 3 losses. They're qualified for the playoffs. They're in the hunt for the division. And they have a rookie quarterback who, despite the mistakes, showed potential throughout the season. Bo Nix had spectacular games. That win against Green Bay the previous week? Fantastic. Bo played like a veteran. Correct reads, accurate passes, smart decisions. It was one of his best games of the season. The problem is he couldn't replicate that against Jacksonville. And that's okay. It's part of development. It's part of the growth process for a young quarterback. What can't happen is letting this loss turn into a snowball. The Broncos have 2 extremely important games ahead before the playoffs begin. Chiefs on Christmas, and then the last game of the regular season. These are direct matchups with division rivals. These are games that define seeding, that define home field advantage, that define the path the team will take in the postseason. And look, playing against the Chiefs is always difficult, but this Christmas game has special meaning. It's Denver's chance to show they learned from their mistakes. It's the chance to prove that loss to Jacksonville was just a stumble, not the beginning of a free fall. It's the chance to send a message to the entire conference. Broncos Country is alive and dangerous. Now, speaking seriously here with you guys, this team has talent, has quality pieces on both sides of the ball. The offensive line, when playing disciplined, protects the quarterback well. The running game, when they decide to use it, is effective. Audric Estime had good moments in the season. Tyler Beatty also showed up. The problem is consistency. It's doing the right things at the right times. It's not committing silly mistakes that cost the game. On defense, when everyone is synchronized, this team can stop any offense in the league. The defensive line has the ability to generate pressure. The linebackers are fast and smart. The secondary, when focused, is solid. But all of this needs to work together, needs discipline, needs execution, needs that rabid dog mentality that doesn't let anything through. And that's exactly where the importance of this loss comes in. It exposed the weaknesses, showed where the team needs to improve, and gave time to make adjustments. Because imagine if these flaws only appeared in the playoffs, it would be total disaster. It would be watching the season end in the worst possible way. Sean Payton, the head coach, has work ahead of him. He needs to ensure this roster has their heads in the right place, needs to ensure tactical adjustments are made, needs to ensure that discipline returns as a trademark of this team, because without discipline, without execution, without focus, no amount of talent will save you. And look, Broncos Country, you who are watching this video now, I want to know, do you think this loss was a necessary wake-up call? Or are you worried that the team is entering a negative spiral right at the wrong time? Comment below. I want to know each of your opinions, because the truth is nobody knows exactly how this team will react. They might use this loss as motivation. They might come back even stronger and more focused. Or the blow to confidence might have been too big and the team spirals out of control. Only time will tell. But one thing I guarantee, if the Broncos want to make noise in the playoffs, if they really want to compete for the top spots, they can't repeat what they did against Jacksonville. Can't have silly turnovers, can't have idiotic penalties, can't have receivers dropping balls, can't have the defense giving up 150 rushing yards. It simply can't happen. The offense needs to find rhythm again. Bo Nix needs to protect the ball above all else. No forcing passes into tight coverage. No fumbles on handoffs. Play safe when necessary. Take risks when the situation calls for it. Read the defense. Make smart decisions. Execute the game plan. And the receivers? You're professionals. You're paid to catch the ball. When the quarterback puts the ball in the right place, you catch it. No excuses. Doesn't matter if the pass came a little behind, a little high, a little low. You adjust and catch it. That's what the greats do. That's what champions do. The defense, in turn, needs to rediscover that aggressiveness from the beginning of the season. When the team was on that winning streak, the defense was relentless. Pressured the quarterback on every play, forced mistakes, created turnovers, dominated the line of scrimmage. That needs to come back urgently. Vance Joseph is going to have to study a lot of film this week, going to have to identify exactly where the scheme failed. Was it poor execution by the players? Was it the opponent reading well what Denver was doing? Was it lack of adjustments in the middle of the game? Whatever it is, it needs to be corrected, because if it's not, the playoffs are going to be short. Now, before continuing, if you're true Broncos Country, if you bleed orange and blue, subscribe to the channel down below. Turn on notifications so you don't miss any videos about our team. We're here every week bringing analysis, news, everything about the Broncos. So leave a like to help strengthen the channel and spread quality content to the entire Denver Broncos family. Getting back to talking about the game, one thing that caught my attention was the lack of halftime adjustments. Jacksonville came out dominating in the first half, and in the second half, kept dominating. Where were the adjustments? Where was the Sean Payton that everyone knows, that creative coach, that coach who knows how to make changes mid-game? It seemed like Denver was stuck, without answers, trying to do more of the same while the opponent had already figured out how to neutralize everything, and that can't happen again. Because in the playoffs, if you don't adjust, you lose. It's that simple. Another concerning point, the run. Jacksonville ran 40 times. 40. Controlled the clock, controlled the pace of the game, tired out the Broncos' defense. And on the other side, Denver abandoned the run too early. When you're losing, there's that tendency to only throw the ball, but sometimes you need to maintain balance, need to keep running to keep the opposing defense honest. It's that old football maxim, establish the run to open up the pass. If you only throw, it becomes predictable. The opposing defense knows it's a pass, puts everyone in coverage, and it becomes much harder to complete anything. Now, if you can run well, the defense needs to respect that, needs to put people to stop the run. And then passes become easier. The Broncos have good running backs. They've proven that throughout the season. But against Jacksonville, the ground game simply didn't work. And part of the blame is on play calling. Sean Payton insisted too much on the pass and abandoned the run. It was a strategic error. But look, not everything is negative about this loss. Seriously. Because now the Broncos know exactly where the holes are, know where they need to improve, and they still have time to work on it before the playoffs. Some teams only discover their weaknesses when it's too late. Denver got this opportunity earlier. Now it's time to take advantage of it. And there's another important factor here: adversity. Every team that wants to go far in the playoffs needs to know how to deal with adversity, needs to know how to respond when they take a punch in the face. And the Broncos just took that punch. The question now is, how will they respond? Will they panic? Will they start pointing fingers, blaming others, getting discouraged? Or will they unite as a family, work on the mistakes, come back stronger? That's what separates common teams from special teams: the ability to react to difficulties. And I believe, family, that this group has what it takes. I believe they'll use this loss as fuel. They'll train harder. They'll study more film. They'll correct the mistakes. And they'll arrive at the Chiefs game ready for war. Because that's what that game will be. War. The Chiefs always play hard against division rivals. Mahomes, even when he's not at his best, is still dangerous. That Kansas City defense knows how to tighten up when needed. It's going to be a trial by fire for Denver. But it's also a perfect opportunity to show growth. Imagine the scene: Christmas Day, Broncos versus Chiefs, division game with playoff implications. The crowd will be electric. The stadium will be on fire. And if Denver can come away with the win, it'll prove that loss to Jacksonville was just a hiccup. It'll prove they learned from their mistakes. They'll gain huge confidence before the playoffs begin. But it won't be easy. Nothing against the Chiefs is easy. They're three-time champions. They know how to win important games. They have plenty of experience in pressure situations. The Broncos will need to play their best football of the season. Offense needs to work. Defense needs to show up. Special teams can't fail. And look, special teams is another detail that needs attention. There weren't any major mistakes against Jacksonville, but there weren't any big plays either. And sometimes that's what defines games. A well-placed punt, a long-distance field goal, a good kickoff return. It's the details. Will Lutz, the kicker, has been reliable during the season, but in extreme pressure situations, will he make that 45-yard field goal at the end of the game to send the team to the playoffs? These are questions that will only be answered when the situation happens, and the punting game. Riley Dixon needs to keep up the good work. Flipping field position is fundamental in tight games. If you can pin the opponent inside the 20-yard line, you completely change the dynamics. The defense has more space to work. The other team has fewer offensive options. It's pure strategy. Going back to defense, one thing that became evident against Jacksonville: lack of turnover generation. During the winning streak, the Broncos forced fumbles, intercepted passes, created opportunities for the offense. Against Jacksonville, nothing. 0 forced turnovers, and that made all the difference. When the defense creates turnovers, it not only takes the ball from the opponent, it also gives the offense short field position, gives opportunities to score easily, completely changes the momentum of the game. The Broncos need to get back to doing that, need to take the ball away from whoever is attacking. Pat Surtain, one of the best cornerbacks in the league, needs to make those plays that only he knows how to make. Intercept impossible passes. Shadow the opponent's best receiver and take him completely out of the game. Kellen Nix may have made some mistakes, but the defense didn't help him by creating opportunities. And the linebackers, they're the heart of this defense. They need to stop the run, cover tight ends, help with quarterback pressure. It's a lot of responsibility. But that's what they were trained for. That's what they're paid for. Now it's time to deliver on the field. Another thing that needs to improve is communication. There were several plays against Jacksonville where the defense seemed confused, people out of position, poorly executed coverages. This usually happens due to lack of communication. Everyone needs to be on the same page. If one player misses his assignment, the whole scheme falls apart. Vance Joseph will have to ensure everyone knows exactly what to do in each situation. Can't have doubt. Can't have hesitation. You see the offensive formation. You recognize the play. You execute your role. Simple, but it needs to be automatic. Now, on the offensive side, one thing that can help a lot is varying targets more. Bo Nix sometimes gets too focused on one or two receivers. Cortland Sutton receives a lot of attention from the opposing defense precisely because he's the first option. But there are other guys who can make plays. Jerry Jeudy can be explosive when he gets opportunities. Marvin Mims Jr. has the speed to burn any defense. Lil Jordan Humphrey is reliable on short routes. Tight ends can be important safety valves. Using all these resources makes the offense much more unpredictable. And another thing, can't be afraid to use play action. When you fake the run and throw the pass, you force the linebackers and safeties to hesitate for a fraction of a second. And in football, a fraction of a second is all you need to get a receiver open. Sean Payton knows this. He's a master at using play action, needs to put that more in the game plan. And in the ground game, mixing running backs can be a good strategy. Each one has different characteristics. One is more powerful between the tackles, another is faster on the edges. Use that to your advantage. Keep the opposing defense guessing who will get the ball and which way the play is going. The offensive line also needs to elevate their level. Against Jacksonville, they got dominated at times, allowed too much pressure, didn't open enough holes for the run. And look, this is the foundation of everything. If the offensive line doesn't work, nothing works. The quarterback is under pressure. Running backs don't have space. The offense stalls. Garrett Balls, Quinn Meinerz, Lloyd Cushenberry, these guys need to dominate the line of scrimmage, need to impose physical strength, need to win individual battles. It's dirty work, it's brutal work, but it's essential. And let's talk about something nobody likes to admit, but is reality. Luck also counts. Sometimes the ball bounces your way. Sometimes it bounces the other way. Sometimes you make a mistake and get away with it. Sometimes you do everything right and it goes wrong. It's part of the game. But you can't depend on luck to win. You need to be good enough that even when luck isn't on your side, you still find a way to win. That's what elite teams do. They overcome bad luck with superior execution. The Broncos, during the 11-game winning streak, had their share of luck. Close victories, decisive plays falling their way. Opponents making mistakes at the right time. But against Jacksonville, the luck wasn't there, and without perfect execution to compensate came the loss. The lesson here is clear: can't depend on miracles, can't expect the other team to make mistakes for you to win. You need to go there and impose your game, dominate from start to finish. Don't give the opponent a chance to react. It's predator mentality, not prey. And mentality family might be the most important factor of all. If this team takes the field believing they can beat anyone, playing with confidence, playing with aggression, the chances increase greatly. But if they come in insecure, doubting, afraid to make mistakes, they'll get massacred. The locker room leaders need to take on this responsibility, need to keep everyone focused, need to ensure nobody has their head down because of one loss. Yes, we lost. Yes, we played poorly, but we're still alive. We still have everything ahead of us. We can still have a special playoff run. And you know what else? Other teams are stumbling too. Nobody is playing perfect football. All teams have flaws. The difference is who can minimize those flaws in the most important moments, who can make the decisive plays when the game is on the line. The Broncos have the talent for that. They proved it throughout the season. Now it's a matter of putting everything together at the right time. It's a matter of learning from mistakes and not repeating them. It's a matter of growing as a team and arriving at the playoffs ready to surprise. Because, look, nobody is expecting much from the Broncos in the playoffs. Everyone thinks they'll lose in the first round, that they're too young a team, too inexperienced. And you know what? Good. Let them underestimate. Let them think it'll be easy. Because when you have nothing to lose, you play free, you play loose. And you can cause havoc. Imagine the Broncos facing a favorite in the first round of the playoffs and surprising them? It would be epic. It would be the type of moment that defines franchises, that creates legacies, and it wouldn't be the first time an underdog team makes noise in the postseason. But for that to happen, this team needs to execute, needs to play disciplined, needs to eliminate mistakes, needs to do everything they didn't do against Jacksonville. Is it possible? Absolutely. Probable. Depends on them. So, Denver Broncos family, what do you think? Was this loss a necessary wake-up call or the beginning of a free fall? Do you believe the Broncos will recover and make noise in the playoffs? Or are you worried that the team is falling apart at the wrong time? Comment below. I want to hear from each of you. And don't forget, leave a like on this video, share it with all your friends who are Broncos Country, and subscribe to the channel to stay on top of everything about our team. Let's go together on this journey, folks. Until the next video. And as always, go Broncos.